Hello everyone, and thank you for coming to my YouTube channel. I am your host Silvershift, and today I will be giving you 13 fun facts about Friday the 13th, since today is Friday the 13th. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. There are actually two terms used to describe the fear of Friday the 13th. The first term, paraskevidekatrophobia, I think that's how you pronounce it, was coined by Dr. Donald E. Dossi in the 90s, a psychotherapist who specialized in phobias and stress management. The first part of the word, paraskevi, comes from the Greek word for Friday. Dekatria comes from the Greek word for 13th, and phobia means fear. The second term used to describe the fear is friga-triskaidekaphobia. Again, I am trying my best here. Frigga was given for the Norse goddess Frigga, whom Friday was named after. Greek words tris, chi, and deka, meaning 3 and 10, add up to the number 13, thus the fear of Friday the 13th. In 1885, someone actually created a club to discredit Friday the 13th. Yes, this man right here, Captain William Fowler, in order to dispel many superstitions, including the ones about Friday the 13th, created the 13th Club in 1882. Members walked under ladders, opened umbrellas indoors, were served 13-course meals, and were forbidden from throwing salt over their shoulders. Most fitting of all was their motto, Morituri te salutamus, or we who are about to die, salute you. If this sounds familiar, it is because the quote comes from the 12 Caesars, where Roman gladiators were fated to die. No one knows exactly how Friday the 13th came to be considered such an unlucky day, but a possible explanation comes from religious sources. At the Last Supper, Jesus was said to have 12 apostles and himself, making 13 guests. However, as you may already know, one of his apostles, Judas, ends up betraying him, leading to his crucifixion on Good Friday. Thus, Friday and 13th being associated with bad luck. Another possible reason for the association of bad luck on Friday the 13th comes from the fall of the legendary warriors, the Knights Templar. On Friday, October 13th, 1307, King Philip IV of France ordered the arrest of hundreds of Knights Templar, resulting in their capture, torture, and finally execution. Many believe this arrest was primarily based on the king's greed, knowing of the vast fortune the Templars had acquired over the years. Whatever the reason, the Templars were rounded up, faced brutal torture leading to false confessions, and finally, execution. If any of you have ever seen the 1993 film Alive, you may or may not know that this was based on an actual real-life event that occurred on Friday the 13th. On October 13, 1972, Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571 crashed into the Andes Mountains. Several of the people on board died on impact, others died due to frigid temperatures and injuries, and under extreme conditions the remaining survivors resorted to cannibalism, eating their dead to stay alive. It wasn't until a few decided to make the trek across the mountains that the remaining survivors were rescued. Sam Patch, aka the Jersey Jumper, was America's first professional daredevil, who performed such feats like leaping into the Hudson River and Niagara Falls from astounding heights. His last jump came on Friday, November 13, 1839, where he attempted to jump the Genesee Falls and ultimately died. If any of you have heard of the bystander effect, the effect where other people are less willing to help if there are other people around, you may know of the case of Kitty Genovese. Her case really brought the bystander effect into the spotlight, when on Friday the 13th, 1964, Kitty was stabbed, raped, and murdered with multiple witnesses around who didn't help her. Of course, the number of witnesses or bystanders was greatly exaggerated, but the case did receive a lot of media attention, especially around bystander intervention. On September 7, 1996, hip-hop legend Tupac Shakur was riding in a car in Las Vegas when a white Cadillac pulled up beside the vehicle and opened fire. 4 of the 12 shots fired struck Tupac and he was rushed to the University Medical Center where 6 days later, on Friday, September 13, 1996, Tupac succumbed to his gunshot wounds and died, leading to a tragic loss for hip-hop music and the world. On Friday, August 13, 1899, one of the greatest masters of suspense in horror cinema was born, Alfred Hitchcock. Hitchcock went on to create some of the greatest films including Dial M for Murder, North by Northwest, and Psycho. Hitchcock died at the age of 80 in his Bel Air home. In Finland, Friday the 13th is used as an instructional day. Every year, Finland dedicates one Friday the 13th as National Accident Prevention Day. The goal? To raise safety awareness and educate people on how to stay safe. For all of you horror movie fans like me out there, August Friday the 13th, 1982 saw the release of the third part of the Friday the 13th franchise. The film was significant in many ways, but none more so than the first appearance of Jason Voorhees' iconic mask. This film was the first time it was ever shown, and would become an iconic staple of the infamous killer and the preceding films for years to come. Did you know that every year has at least one Friday the 13th, but no more than 3? And if the month begins on a Sunday, it is guaranteed that the month will have a Friday the 13th. For some future fear, it is reported that on Friday, April 13th, 2029, asteroid Apophis 99942, about 1,100 feet or 340 meters wide, and capable of obliterating a region the size of Texas, will safely pass by Earth. In fact, it will pass so close to Earth that you will be able to view it without a telescope in the Eastern Hemisphere. If you live in the Western Hemisphere, like I do, well, I guess we are the unlucky ones that day. Thank you all for joining me today. I hope you all had some fun with these Friday the 13th facts, whether they gave you a bit of frigachiskadecaphobia, made you want to start your own 13th club, or maybe just made you want to watch the entire Friday the 13th franchise. Whatever the case, I hope you all have a great Friday the 13th, and good luck.